Back in the spring of 2012, I was visiting some family over in Boston. I usually don't visit them around this time of year, but I decided it would be fun to surprise them. Anyways, I lived in Detroit, so I realized I should probably take a flight out. But I don't get paid much working at this steel mill in Ohio, and I'm absolutely terrified of flights. I decided a buddy and I should take a ride out to Boston. He had a Prius, so the trip wouldn't cost much for him. He's never met my family, so he agreed to driving me. I told him I would pay him back for all the gas because I felt like shit for bumming a ride off a friend. Sorry for that little info dump, but I felt it needed to be said. Anyways, we were taking a route through Pennsylvania that I don't feel like describing because it was long as shit and I don't remember it. One thing I do remember, and frankly, I don't think I'll ever forget, is when we stopped to use the bathroom in New York. It was a regular shit-stained bathroom. There were a few questionable stains here and there, but we just decided to brush it off and get something to eat. On our way out of the gas station, I noticed an old map. Dating back to around 1965. I noticed it was a small back road that actually looked like a shortcut to Massachusetts. It looked like it would cut through the woods and into a small town. The town name was not listed on the map, but as long as it was faster, I thought we should take that route. I showed the route to my friend, and he was not too reluctant in taking it because it was starting to storm. And if the town had a motel, he was fine with it. He's usually pretty terrified with storms. So after buying a bag of combos, some colas, and a bag of Doritos, my friend and I happily got our asses back on the road. On our way, we began to pass through a small forest, and we noticed that the trees had no leaves. Like, not as if the trees were all dead, or if it was fall, but instead they looked as if they were all burned. Like if there was a huge forest fire or some shit like that. As we traveled deeper into the forest, we began to question whether we were taking the right route, or if we should turn around whenever we got the chance. Another weird thing we noticed was this terrible smell. It was like the smell of a dead skunk, where you can still smell the regular skunk smell, but there's also the scent of rotting flesh. The smell was actually strong enough to make me gag. We kept driving, probably a good 30 miles over the speed limit, until we finally passed an older-looking sign. It had some faded lettering on it. But you could still see them. Welcome to Knowhere. The sign made me laugh a little because of the faint, dark humor. It really was nowhere. I mean, so far as it was nothing but dead trees. As we passed the sign, though, the gross-ass smell went away and our radio went out. Like, it did not just gradually turn to static, it just instantly turned to static and our radio shut off by itself. My friend said that kind of shit happened when we go past areas at the steel mill. Some shit to do with the large magnets we use to lift the iron, or something like that. But that would mean we'd have to be near a steel mill, or a huge-ass magnet. Either one would be a weird thing to encounter out here, because it was such a small town. Anyways, we continued on, but as we did, our desire to leave the town and turn around started to grow more intense. This town just had this strange feeling that made our paranoia spike through the roof. We decided it was time to get back on the highway. So as we're pulling into a driveway, something dawns on me. There has absolutely been not a single person throughout this whole town. We thought the town might be abandoned or something, because all these buildings were in horrible condition. But the lawn seemed to be too manicured, and some of the buildings still had lights on. I also noticed that there were cars all around this place. Some looking like the town, and others like they were right off the assembly lines. At this point in time, I told my friend to move the car. I wanted to get out of this town. But he was leaning out of the car window, taking a picture with his phone or something. I asked him what was he taking a picture of, and he just said he was photographing the sky. It had just stopped raining, and it seemed like there was a ring of storm clouds all around us. The sky had that cool evening look to it, you know? Like that weird orangish purple color. So after taking a few pictures, we went and looked at one of them. I'll have them posted, but when we saw the first picture, we thought it was some small technical error. Like his hand was shaking, you know? It kind of looked like he was shaking the camera. All of a sudden, the storm started to come back in town. All of a sudden, the storm started to come back. So we decided to roll up the windows and get the hell out of there. That's when we heard it. It was like an air raid siren, but it sounded as if it were distorted by the large buildings. I had been in Chicago, and their air raid sirens were sometimes broken. At this point, me and my friend were just trying to get the hell out of there. He turned the key, but the car told him that the battery was dead. We realized we were sitting ducks in the position we were in. At this point, the siren had stopped, but the rain had started up again, and we just sat in his car. Waiting for the rain to stop so we could walk back to the gas station. and get someone out there to help us. My friend was taking pictures with his phone again when we noticed that our phones were messing up on reception. Probably due to the same reason that the radio shut off. That's when we looked through his pictures more, and there was the same problem again. All of them were blurry as shit. But that was when we noticed figures in the blur. When we saw this bullshit, we knew it was time to man up and walk to the gas station, rain or shine. But when we got out of the car, we noticed that the air around us felt heavy and humid. We knew it had just stormed, but this felt weird. The air almost made us feel like we were moving in slow motion. Like time was physically moving slowly in this town. It felt like the whole town was underwater, like we were swimming, and we were held down in the water by large lead boots. We knew we must have been close to the woods, because we started to smell the skunk-like stench. It got stronger as we drew closer to the edge, and so did the intensity of the atmosphere of this town. It was like we were being crushed by gravity. Soon we found ourselves crawling to the edge of the town, and as soon as we passed the sign, we could not smell the smell. And we were also able to stand again, like we had just come to the surface of a vast ocean. We were coughing and gasping. But mostly, we were glad to be out. I remember looking back at the town as we walked through the singed forest and seeing nothing. Nothing but just more forest. And then I realized what had just happened. We had gone nowhere.